I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Volpe Report. I'm your host, Domenic Volpe. We have two special guests tonight. One from the little village of Buchanan, the mayor, Al Donahue. And also we have with us in our second half of our segment tonight, we have John Nichols, who's the commander of the American Legion, Peekskill Post 274. Welcome, fellas, onto the program. Welcome, Al.
Thanks.
Okay, so let's start out with, we're going to go to, John, excuse us, we're going to go right now to Al. We want Al to give us a little bio of him, his family, his setup, what's going on. How's things in the village?
Well, first I want to thank you, Dominic, for this invitation, and I'm proud to be here with you and with our post commander, John Nichols.
Okay.
First, I was born and raised in the city of Peekskill. I went to school at the Assumption, the Guardian. Then I went to Peekskill High School. I went into service from Peekskill, and I went on the state police from Peekskill, where I served for 29 years.
Oh, as a state trooper.
That's right. Then in 1964, my wife and my family moved to the village of Buchanan. Now
So were you, now, since you're since 64 in Buchanan, are you considered a carpetbagger because you've only been there for, what, 44 years now, I guess? Is that what it is? When do you become officially a Buchanan, a resident, an alien?
I say about another 20 years.
Another 20 years, and then you're officially a part of Buchanan.
That's right. Well, see, when I moved into Buchanan, the people there, all the homes, they were handed down from one generation to another. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. Yeah. So it's a very close community.
But now, you know, it's changing like everything else.
Sure.
But it's a nice little community. A lot of people don't know it. It's a little more than 1 square mile, about the same size as Tuckahoe and Bronxville. We have like 2,100 people. They have like 7,000, 8,000 people. And but we're very fortunate. We have our own police department, our own highway department, our own recreation department. We have the same thing as a little city has.
Right. In a sense, it really, yours and I believe Croton are very different, because really you reside within the town of Cortland, but Buchanan and Croton actually are a village within the town of Cortland, and you really have your own highway department,
we have
everything.
You're
fully functional.
We're just like a little city.
Right.
Croton's about, population-wise, about 3 times
the size
of us, but like I say, we're independent. We like I say, we have everything that maybe a little city or a little town would like to have, but maybe even more.
So now getting back to the family, the wife is?
Well, my wife's name is Carolyn Gilbert. She was born and raised in Montrose, and she went to Henry Cutson High School.
Now, how many children and how many grandchildren is it?
Five children. I have
5 children.
3 daughters, 2 sons, 14 granddaughters, and 4 grandsons.
So 18 grandchildren in total.
And this April 25th, we'll be married 50 years.
So that Christmas tree gets bigger and bigger every year, huh?
It gets bigger and bigger, and no one knows it, but I'm very fortunate. Very, very fortunate.
Now, give us your background and your political foray. In other words, how many were you a trustee? Have you ever been mayor before? Did you run for office before? What's the story?
Well, like I said before, my favorite politician in that respect was President Lincoln.
Why is that?
He ran 11 times. He only won twice, once for Congress and once for president.
Well, how's your record so far?
I have a track record a little better, but you know, I was elected mayor in '86. I lost in '88. I was elected trustee in '89. I lost in '91. I was elected mayor in '94, and I was mayor until 2002 when I lost, and I was reelected in 2008.
So just recently.
Yeah, because I like people and I like being involved.
So what was you ran on a platform a year ago. What was the platform?
Well, the platform that I ran on is our workers in the village, and they do a great job, and that's the sanitation people, the highway people, and the office personnel, and our police department. They were without a contract for 2 years.
Right.
I ran on a platform, and I told them I would settle their contract within 1 month if I'm elected. But I couldn't do it in a month because I was in the hospital, as you know, with a knee operation.
Right.
But I got out of the hospital and I went to a board meeting and we settled the contract. It was a 3-year contract. Also, I ran and I stated if elected, I would do everything I could to eliminate health benefits for elected officials. I think times are tough. I mean, even tougher now. And I had a resolution passed, and I did not have the majority on the board, and it was passed, and elected officials no longer get health benefits.
Now, give us the setup though. Are you as the mayor, are you a full-time, is that a full-time paid position? Are the trustees full-time or are they part-time positions?
Well, the way it works in the village, we have a village administrator. But today is what, Tuesday? In the last couple of days, I've been down to Village Hall for 8 or 10 hours.
So you can make it as full-time or part-time.
It's not
as
uncommon,
you want.
but in the village, like a lot of people don't realize, the mayor is the chief executive officer of the village. Then it goes on to the board of trustees, then the village administrator.
Right.
The mayor is the only one in the village who can hire or fire. Okay. He's the only one that can sign contracts. So he has a lot of authority, even though it's supposed to be a part-time position. But it's what you want to put into it. Like I'm retired and I have a lot of time and I can spend time down
So
there.
in other words, you ran on the idea that you were going to try to cut back on any of those excess perks that maybe people felt that elected officials were getting. You were going to eliminate them in order to really cut back and save on taxpayers.
The thing that got my attention, in 2006, our taxes went up 102.5%. So I thought back, you know, before this happened, okay, there was enough revenue to pay for all these benefits. But I said to myself, if I was sitting on a board and I had increased taxes 102.5%, I couldn't sit and look people in the eye and still take benefits and have them pay for it.
Sure.
So I passed a resolution was passed, and the board was made up of myself. Well, at the board, which will change next week, I was a Republican. We had 3 Democrats and a non. So it was nonpartisan.
Speaking about that, you just had a new election just recently where there were 2 new people that just came on board. I believe they are, what the names are?
I went to, but see, a lot of people, they don't, you know, if they're not really familiar with villages, and I didn't know until I moved there, and 90% of the village elections are held in March.
Right.
So we just had a recent election. I want to congratulate Teresa Knickerbocker and Brian Smith, who will be the 2 new trustees. Now our board will be made up of 2 Democrats, 2 nons, and I'll be the Republican.
So you kind of have an open government, if anything.
Well, we do, and we'll work together for the best of the, you know.
And you've actually had then a changeover since just not this election, but the last election, where literally there are 5 new faces on this board, correct?
Before it was more or less it was all Democratic board. But things have changed, and you know, it's more, you know.
Do you think this is coming about because you're thinking people more and more are feeling like not anti-incumbent, but they're tired of the old, they want change, they want to see new faces because they feel that many elected leaders really aren't doing their job, and so if someone says we're going to cut back on taxes, we're going to do it, like there's this group out there called Rethink Westchester, and it's all about either reducing county government or in some cases even getting rid of it. Did you get that same feeling when you're going around door to door? You hear people talk about that?
I think people look for changes.
Yeah.
And I don't think as many people, I know, especially in small communities like the little villages and stuff, people aren't voting straight party anymore. There's a certain amount.
Right.
So people are looking to who they feel can best serve their community.
Yeah. In other words, the days of where just strictly looking at whatever line it was, whether it was Republican or Democrat, those days are gone.
Days are gone.
They look at the candidates really and see who's going to do the best job for those residents.
Well, like you see, a little community like we have. We have 2 churches, and we have the little post office, and everybody meets each other a few times a week, and you know they talk to them. And you got the one school that's really on our line, Henry Cutson, Buchanan, Burpine School. So everybody knows everybody in that small. But you can figure we're 1 square mile, but like half of it is owned by Con Edison and Entergy, so we're like half a square mile.
Right. Sure.
So everybody knows everybody. So
sure. So what are you looking forward to? What's coming up? Are you trying to hold the line on? Are you going to have to let go of anyone as far as workers go?
It's a lot of places they're doing that. I'd like to down in our school, the superintendent, he has a tough task, and he's laying off a lot of people.
It's happening all